right, all right. Welcome to another edition of Living Boldly with Purpose. I am Dr. B. I am your host. And there's some shows that you go, wow, that was a good show. And then there's some shows you go, are you kidding me? That show was amazing. I got to get this guy's number. I got to take it down. There's some things that you are going to want to listen to today. If you are listening to this as a recording, make sure you get your notes out, put pause, go get your notes because you're going to take notes. If you are listening to this live with us right now, go find a pen, go find a piece of paper, write some stuff down. If all you write down is, how do I get to the recording so I can top earlier, then that's what you need to do. I am here with Patrick Rude today. Patrick Rude is a person who has not only, I've asked to come to a podcast, but is changing my life on a daily basis on my knowledge about what to do with some of the money that I make. You know, we have financial advisors, we have financial planners, and we have folks that, you know, want us to get into the mutual funds or to the life insurance or, you know, whatever it is, the stocks and the bonds and all those things that'll help us in our investment side. But the other side of the investment side is, how do you keep the money that you're making? You know, if you're investing like from taxes, how do you keep yourself out of the IRS's eyeballs where they're thinking that they need to come get some of what you have? How do you know when you're doing the right things with that money? And some of our podcast today is going to be just about that. He has a thing called the Secret Society. I'm going to let him talk about the Secret Society, but you're going to have to hold on and wait to see exactly what the Secret Society is and how it works and why it's so important. And just the ability. I have so many, several friends. I'm not going to say so many because I don't know how to quantify how many, so many that look to Patrick for, what do I do? What do I do next? We've been able to become friends. We get to see each other. I just saw him this last weekend in New York. He doesn't live in New York. I don't live in New York, but we got to see each other in New York and talk about some of those strategies. So you are in for a major, major treat today. Get that pen, get that pencil out. If you're just getting on and say, well, I don't know if I want to listen to this, I promise you, you do. So Patrick, thank you for being on today. Thank you for helping people out, understanding tax strategies and everything else and what to do with their money and whatever the IRS is saying and staying out of their eyeballs and all that kind of stuff. So, but first I want you to tell your story. How did you get to where you're at? And like all my guests, you can start wherever you want, mama's womb to now. But we want to know who you are. And then we will figure out how we're going to make sure that the folks that are listening, as tax season is going to come upon us quickly, are going to do some of the best things they possibly can to make sure that's done. So go ahead, tell us who you are, and we'll go from there.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. I'm just going to go home now because I can't. You've waxed so eloquently about me. What can I say to top that? Holy moly. Okay. So thank you so much for those kind words, brother. And it's always a blessing to be able to get to spend time with you and get to deepen our relationship. And I didn't even know you were going to be in New York, honestly.
Yeah.
So blessed that we got to be there.
And it's so good too. Such a good time to be there. Yeah. We got to get more people there to those events.
We will. There will be.
I'm going to do a speaker school here in March in Denver. So if you want to come to Denver, oh my gosh, we're even going to have a VIP day that we're going to go to a hot springs, and everybody who goes to the VIP day, we're going to do a thing on podcasting and masterminding podcasts and how do you make money in podcasting. And then at the end of that session, everybody's getting a massage.
Well, you know that I am in there like swimwear, so I am down. Anytime you mention hot springs, massage, get to hang out with you. Shoot, you know, I am in for it. So I will give you the story of me. Since you asked, I am nothing spectacular. I just am the outside of being God's creation, which I think that's spectacular. But outside of that, I just happen to be the collective, result of the experiences and opportunities things that I put myself through, which I didn't need to, and the opportunities that God put in front of me. So I am originally from Southern Michigan. I am born and raised in Southern Michigan. All my family's from Northeastern Ohio. Unfortunately, we're all Cleveland sports fans. So I never have anything to cheer about when it comes times to sports. Outside of that, I was raised by my mother and father, very, very hardworking, amazing individuals. My father started his own business, a plastic manufacturing company, when I was just a teenager. Up until that point, I have a lot of respect for my father. He was a self-made man, and he worked for 30 years without a college education to become one of the best in his field, which is plastic extrusion engineering. And he built a plastic extrusion manufacturing company from the ground up. We had contracts with all the major auto manufacturers: Ford, GM, Chrysler, Hyundai, you name it. And my father had made it about 6 years in business before, essentially, long story short, the IRS put him out of business overnight. And that should have never happened. And unfortunately, my parents couldn't find someone in the tax and accounting industry to help them navigate that situation and stay in business. Unfortunately, my father had to sell everything he owned out from underneath the IRS to one of his customers and go to work for them in order to pay the IRS off. And eventually he did get out of that situation, but it wasn't out of wasn't without scratches or scrapes. He ended up in the hospital with a mild heart attack and mini strokes, several things. We thought we were going to lose him at one point from all the stress that he was under trying to save our family and the business. And, eventually he was able to get out of that and went into consulting and is now thankfully alive, retired, and healthy and well. But that was my first experience into watching a business fail spectacularly in something that could have been avoided. Now I am the proud owner of a tax and accounting firm, and it's my job to make sure that what happened to my father doesn't happen to anyone else ever again. And we've been able to do that very successfully since 2008. We were featured on Philly Proud during the pandemic for helping businesses stay open and retain employees and be able to pay them. I've been very blessed to be able to become a 7-time international best-selling author. I also have a Guinness Book of World Record, and I've been a Grant Cardone 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, a Dave Ramsey local pro, and been published in Forbes and all kinds of things. So I've been very blessed to be able to figure out, sort of from my father's fall from his business, how to utilize that to make sure that other people don't go through that experience and create a successful business, multiple businesses from it myself. As far as background, where I came from, I was a little hood rat in Southern Michigan growing up and, just outside of Detroit. I saw my fair share of trouble, but, God spared me from a lot of things. And, I gave my parents their own share of heart attacks when I was younger. But eventually we all come to a choice where we're either going to have to shape up and ship out or turn it all around and do something with ourselves. And fortunately I chose right. So, and that led me to the Philadelphia area, New Jersey, and now 4 different offices. My original office in Ann Arbor, Michigan, my main office in Philadelphia, and then my other offices in Atlanta and Tampa, and we service 15 different states across the U.S. right now. So.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, I do want to ask you about your identity a little bit, because
Sure.
now you're a kid that gets to watch or has to watch your dad go through this excruciating issue with the IRS, and so now you want to make a difference in people's lives. But that had to be a scary thing, right? Because you're tackling the person that dismantled some of your family's life. So there's some anger and there's some drive that goes in there, but you still have to become that person who is able to do it, right? Because a whole lot of people that are mad at government entities. There's a whole lot of people
Oh
mad
yeah.
at
There's a lot of sentiment there. That's
yeah.
why when I introduce myself to people, I tell them it's my job to screw the IRS out of as much money legally every year as possible. When they ask me what do I do, and I've had some interesting responses to that from some people. Like, aren't you afraid the IRS is going to come after you for saying that? And I'm like, well, if they would just change the tax laws, then no, I have no fear of that, because they created it so that the one of the things I wrote the book, The IRS's Dirty Little Secret, and I'll share the dirty little secret with you, Dr. B. The dirty little secret is that there is no secret. The tax law is put there to be utilized by the masses for their benefit. So if you're not operating in the confines of the tax law, you're doing it wrong.
Gotcha. So you're not trying to avert the IRS. You're trying to utilize what they already put together in a way, but a way that most are not going to tell you how to do. So you end up losing out.
What's the best? It's that old unspoken rule, right? If you have a really good investment, you don't go telling people about it, because then they're going to invest in it too. And then all of a sudden somebody's going to screw it up and it's no longer a good investment. Well, it's my goal to get as many people to leverage the tax code and how it's written to their benefit as possible. And then maybe hopefully someday they revise the tax code and it's much more simpler and easy and more clean cut.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my secret motive.
Yes, I love it. And so when we go back to this identity piece, when you're going through this, you're saying, well, I got to learn how to do this because I got to screw it to the IRS, or I got to take it to them, or teach people how to utilize it. What is it you have to go through in your mind to learn everything and then still be that person who can sit down with somebody and all? Because I don't hear the anger come out, when you're doing it, because you've been able to do it over and over and over and over again and help people out so much. So now it's like, I'm happy, I'm excited. Did you have to go through a transformation, or what did you have to work on in yourself in order to be able to?
There was actually a big transition that happened. And this is why I can talk about it without being angry, right? Is because originally when we told the story of our life, I placed the blame in the wrong spot. I blamed the family member who was our accountant at the time for not doing their job and protecting my father from this mess. So for a long time, that's where my anger was placed, was actually towards the profession I'm in.
Gotcha.
It was never at the IRS. The IRS, they were just doing their job.
It was that the person who didn't know how to utilize the IRS's tax codes and everything, and put your father in that spot.
Yep. Okay. It was at the person that didn't protect my family, that had the knowledge and the ability to protect my family from experiencing that.
Wow. I mean, that when you think about that in that way, and then what you do now, it's a huge responsibility. I mean, it's like on Spider-Man level, like, with
it's my origin story, brother.
Yeah, because you start thinking, well, you got to help as many people who want to be helped, that are coming to you. But if you do, if you don't know the stuff, or you're just kind of going through the easy parts of it, then they could have those feelings about you forever.
Then I am just as bad as then I am just as bad as the villain that created me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. So you got to wake up every day, but because you're able to help people and because you're able to, now you wake up every day like, what you got next? I'm ready for whatever you're going to
Let's
throw
go.
at me,
Let's go.
which
Exactly.
is so cool. Um,
I was
and so
blessed. I was very blessed with the fact that I'm not a traditional accountant.
okay.
Most accountants are numbers people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they lack certain social skills.
Yes.
I am the son of an engineer.
Okay. So very detailed.
I'm very analytical,
Mm-hmm.
but I also have social skills.
There you go. Yes.
So I know enough to keep on top of the law, keep on top of how things are changing. I mean, that's how we helped so many people make it through the pandemic. I mean, like we saved over 200,000 jobs just in the tri-state area, in the Philadelphia area during the pandemic.
You didn't say 20 jobs. You didn't say 200,000. You said 200,000 jobs because of the things you're putting together. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, we kept people working. We kept businesses open because of what we were doing. I mean, you know Emilio. I mean, he'll sing my praises until the day he dies. The fact that I got him a grant for $15,000 when he lost over $60,000 at an event and was thinking about having to close his business.
Wow.
I don't say this with ego. I say this just as a fact. If I hadn't helped them get through that, they would not be in business today. He would not be publishing books. He would not be helping authors tell their story. He would not be in business right now.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So you have this responsibility. You begin to start helping people. You see the joy in that. You talk about being analytical. I'm kind of the same way where, I taught computers at the university, but I didn't teach computer science. I couldn't program if my life depended on it. But I taught the application to people that I could relate to. So when they went home and turned on their PC, now they can actually use it instead of like thinking about how does this whole box work. It's kind of doing the same thing with AI now and AI summits. I've been doing AI goal setting summit here at the end of the month on using AI to do this stuff, but it's not, teaching you like how AI works. Somebody else did that, right? I'm teaching you how to use it. And you're doing the same thing, right?
That's essentially exactly what I do. I'm like,
yeah,
I teach people, okay, you want a business, you have a business. Most of you have been doing some kind of side hustle or side business. Let's actually legitimize that, turn it into something that works for you instead of something that you have to hide from the IRS or something that you can't benefit from or something you feel like you need to push away in the corner and not talk about. Let's teach you how to use the things that you've been given, your talents, your gifts, whatever it is, and live boldly with purpose.
There we go. I love it. One of the things that usually I don't get into the technical sides of, what people do on our first show together, but I just kind of feel that there's some people that goes, I'm drowning, I'm dying, I don't know what to do. And maybe, one of the funnest things that you enjoy talking about, maybe you could just go over with us just a little bit about something that somebody could do right now, today, in order to change their trajectory.
The hardest and the most scary thing to do is to pay attention. If you get real, and I say this not uncallously, I don't know if that's the right word or not. I do numbers, not English. I say this with a great understanding in what it means. If you have the bravery to stand up and look at where you're really at and take a picture or create the picture of where you're at, you'll be able to see how you got there.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll also be able to see how to get out. But oftentimes it's so painful to really look and discover where we're at that we don't want to take the time to do it. Right? That's why people don't budget. That's why people, make mistakes financially. That's why people, spend above and beyond their means. That's, all of these things that people do to get themselves into bad situations. It's because of either extenuating circumstances, and that's fine. Like, life happens. Rain falls on the just and the unjust, right? Like, you may get sick, you may lose a job, you may whatever, right? These things happen. But at the end of the day, if you don't take responsibility for where you're at, look at it, examine it, you'll never be able to find a way out of it. And go ahead.
Yeah, and I want to jump in there real quick, just because when you talk about taking responsibility, you're talking about just being an awareness. You're not saying you need to know how to do, but what happens is we feel this thing called shame, which is probably one of the worst emotions that's out there. And because we didn't do it right, or we didn't know, or we're in this circumstance, we got that credit card or whatever it is, we spent too much money on it, we don't really know how to pay it, or the IRS time we used to get a tax return, but this year we did something stupid, and now the IRS is saying that I owe them money. And instead of saying, I got to figure out how to fix this, that shame of our identity that says we suck says, well, I'm just not even going to open the mail. It's just going to stack up.
Can I be blunt? Can I be blunt?
Please. All right, you got to be. Yes.
You can either keep your ego, and if you keep your ego will keep you broke.
Your ego, I'm writing that one down. For you guys listen, your ego will keep you broke.
Yep.
Okay.
And you think about that, because how many times, and talking to me, how many times have I let my pride talk me out of an opportunity, or my shame talk me out of an opportunity, or I'm better than that. I don't need to go knock on doors. I don't need to do whatever it takes to get by. I shouldn't have to. That's pride. That's ego. Your ego will keep you broke. And shame is painful.
Oh yeah. Very painful.
That's why oftentimes you hear that broke is temporary, poor is a state of mind.
Another good nugget. Poor is a state of mind. Yeah, when I think about, like, in the society that we're in now, nobody needs to stay broke.
There's no excuse. There's literally no excuse. I have, let me tell you, I have a 21-year-old boy. Man, 21-year-old man who is taking home $1 million this year that I have just helped him figure out how to only pay, $20,000-$30,000 in taxes on. Wow. $1 million in his hand.
Wow. Yeah.
This year for 2025.
Yeah. Well, you think, like, back in the 1200s, 1300s, when there was landowners, which became landlords. And if you didn't have the land, you were subservient to the person who had the land. There was nothing you could do but live your life and die. You didn't have opportunities to go own land. If you didn't already do it and you were born in that state, boom, it's over. 2025, there's a free guy who will talk to you and tell you how to do it every day if you can figure out how to get on the internet. And if you don't have internet at your house, you can go to a free library space, use their computer, use their stuff, and still get it. It's just
you can ask ChatGPT on your phone for some way to make $100. You can go to Staples, print that out, whatever it is, whether it's an ebook, a pamphlet, a course, a program, whatever it is. You can print that out. You can print out flyers, or you can literally walk outside. There's a neighborhood outside my window. You can't see it, but there's a neighborhood, and you could go door to door. And I bet you, if you could stomach the nose, you could go make you could make $1,000 today just knocking doors, selling something for $100. Something digital. Something digital.
So back to the story of what can somebody do right now in the mindset. What are some things that they have to work on in their mind that would allow them, without the shame and everything else, to go knock on doors? It seems like sometimes in this, I'm going to just want to say this country, but in some of the neighborhoods and the people that I run around, that they believe things are supposed to be handed to them. Like somebody else is supposed to take care of them, or the government's supposed to come in and, they'll spend
No, you're exactly right. The hardest mind shift to get around is something that as men, we're a little bit more naturally geared towards understanding, because it's still culturally part of how we interact with each other as men. There is no one coming to save you. You are responsible for where you end up in life. You're responsible for where you're at right now and for where you're going. And that is the fundamental mindset shift that if you really want to be successful, you have to have. But there's also levels of success. Not everybody, and social media does this very bad mind hack on all of us. We see billionaires, we see people that have rented billionaire things, we see all this pomp and circumstance, and we got to keep up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah.
We have to, the first mental shift is you need to decide, what is success for me? Right? Like, what does a good life lived look like for me?
Yeah.
Right. I was just talking with my fiance about this last night. I was like, at the end of my life, if I'm an 80-year-old man, 90-year-old man, 100-year-old man, however I'm going to be on my deathbed, and I look back at my life, would I be proud of me? Would I be proud of what I'm doing? Would I be proud of how I'm living? Or would I be, and we were talking about chores, right? So we were talking about cleaning the house and going away too much with the kids, or not going away enough with the kids, and spending time and not spending time, and I got 5 kids, but hollering at them to clean up and keeping things and having standards and all that stuff. She was mostly yelling at me, but what we were talking about was, when we look back at our life, are we going to wish that we had yelled more, that we had cleaned up more, that we had kept things a mess? Or are we going to look back and say, man, I wish I would have made that mess with them instead of just yelling at them to clean it up? Or I wish I would have taken the time to sit down and dirtied that extra cup of coffee to sit with you and talk with you at the table. Or are we going to say, man, well, at least, I didn't have to do that many dishes that week. And it's just it's the slight perspective shifts, right? Because life moves so quickly and things pass us by so quickly. Like, I don't know if I'm just hyper aware of it because I just had a birthday and I feel like I'm getting old and I got 5 kids and I don't want to miss a thing. And I'm like, I know I don't have these times forever, but I don't want to live with regret. This is one thing I refuse to do. I've lived with regret. And sometimes it can't be avoided, but I don't think that there's going to be a time in my life where I'm like, man, I wish I would have gone on one more date instead of marrying my fiance, or I wish I would have, gotten the kids one more babysitter instead of spending a Friday night having pizza, watching a movie with them, or, I think those are the things that at the end of my life are going to signify a life well lived. And I think a lot of those things, that has been probably for me the biggest mindset shift, to go from having all the time in the world to, I want to do the most I can with whatever time I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. One of the things that you just brought up that has been talking about a lot this week, which is this construct of time. And somebody, I can't remember who it was that came in the other day and they said, I had a long day. And Sifu and I had this conversation on my podcast the other day. And my question was your day longer than my day? Because the way I see it is we all only have the same 24 hours, a day that we can do stuff with. No matter if you're making $1 billion or you're making $220 an hour, like some of my friends in Alabama are doing.
But that's the point. Are you spending it doing something? Are your hours spent, or are they wasted?
Are they wasted? Yeah, because I don't have long days. I have
you rolled them away, or have you spent them? Have you purchased an experience? Have you purchased time with someone else? And sorry, this is the money guy in me, right? What have you spent your time on? What have you, like, it's money, but time is money. So
it is. It's more precious money.
More precious
all the time. And it's evidence, nobody is, saying, I can take it with me, or I can put it in my U-Haul or whatever it is, right? You tell somebody, I'll give you $1 million today, or but you have to spend it within 24 hours and then you're going to die. Or I can give you, another 25 years guaranteed on this planet that you can do whatever you with. Who's going to take the money right away? Right? They're going to take the time all day
long.
So one of the things I want to ask you, because when I think of time spent, one of the things that I've been trying to do that is the biggest ROI, rate of my return on things that I'm spending my time on. And to me, it's my associations, it's my relationships. Like, to have an hour with you and learning this stuff is way worth more than watching somebody play pretend on TV. And yet, how many hours a day are people watching somebody else live out their pretend life and not having the conversations with the different folks that can help move the needles?
I've noticed it with my kids. And this may blow your mind. It may not, but it's the same concept. I have watched my kids watch videos on YouTube of other people playing with toys that they have themselves in their room that they have never touched.
Wow. And we'll watch somebody. Yeah, my grandkids do the same thing.
They will watch someone else play with a toy rather than go play with a toy.
Yeah. Easter, something like that. Please, adults. Oh my gosh.
We are just the same. Adults are no better. We're no different. We will watch people go on dating shows, bachelors and bachelorettes, and Survivor, and rather than go and experience those things for ourselves.
Well, and here's the difference for me that makes is if I'm reaching out and I'm creating a relationship, then I get the best of both worlds, right? I get the world that helps me because I'm creating a new And at the same time, I can then feed into somebody. And if I were to do that, I think even Jose talked about this the other. Jose is the guy that we both work with that said if you were to do that 5 times a day, where you were meeting somebody new 5 times a day, every day for a week, and you did that for 90 days, the difference in your life and what you spend your time on, I bet the things you spend your time on change. Of your waking hours that you're waking, I bet if you did this for 90 days, what you would spend your time on now and chart it to what you'll spend your time on in 90 days and how much more wealth you have and how much more money you have. Everything will change in your life if you're willing to reach out.
Get out of this and get into this.
Gotcha.
And your life will be exponentially better.
Gotcha. Well, here's the other part that I do that I love thinking about this is there's somebody watching this show right now that will say, well, I don't really need a tax strategist. I just go to work, come home, and got my W-2 and I'm good to go, right? But they're miserable in life, but they don't, hey, I get my $3,000 return every single year and I'm good to go. And then you go do this for 90 days and meet with people that you've dreamed of meeting with and call up people that are the best of the best, doing something, learn what they do. And in 90 days, you're going, oh, I need to call Patrick because I got a new way of thinking, right?
I bet you that person, 9 times out of 10, because a lot of my clients still have jobs too. They just have extremely successful side hustles as well.
Yeah.
So I bet you 9 times out of 10, because that person is miserable in their job, they're doing something on the side and just hiding it from the government because they're afraid of losing that $3,000 refund, when in reality, that side hustle that they're doing could actually help them turn that $3,000 refund into a $6,000 refund.
Wow.
That's a dirty little secret, man. The best tax structure, the best setup that you can have is have a W-2 where someone else is paying your taxes to the government. Okay, I know Dave Ramsey says it's an interest-free loan, but okay, so what? And then you have a side hustle, leverage the tax laws appropriately, so everything in your life is a tax write-off. And then at the end of the year, you get every penny you paid into that right back, and probably then some.
Wow.
That is the tax play. That is the win when it comes to being the best set up.
Yeah. And I'm playing this from the perspective of a listener who's listening right now and thinking about it and going, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do all those things. And what I kind of find out, and as you find people who got this stuff down, they're not doing the actual work of putting everything together. They got the strategy. They're doing what you tell them to do in the strategy, but somebody else is the one who's putting it all together. Like, they have a bookkeeper. They have a person who's looking at their numbers. All they're doing is sending in their numbers. And because they're making that extra money, they can afford somebody to make sure. I mean, they got to know what's going on, but the actual day-to-day work, like, you think, well, I don't know math. I got to strain in math. When's the last time you actually put a math formula together? Like, in our lives, you, me, are you?
I was trained to do accounting on green and white ledger paper.
Woo. Yeah.
I have never, after college, never again. Never again.
My God. Yeah. We're not in that age of knowledge anymore. You have to know how to do, like, I could ask ChatGPT to make a formula to pretty much do anything I want it to do, and then just copy and paste it and see if it works. I mean, this is like 30 seconds or a minute, not like my whole life trying to go through accounting books to figure out how to create a ledger and stuff. I mean, it will create the ledger.
90% of what I teach and what I learned, I didn't learn in college. I didn't learn in a book. I didn't learn from education. I learned it from experience, from watching my father go through it, from dealing with the IRS one-on-one, from You know, let me give you a nugget for free. If
All
you
right, here
have
we go.
if you have a tax issue with your tax return, business, personal, whatever it is, call your congressman.
Really?
They have a special liaison that is in their office set up to help you and communicate with you and the IRS, to be a liaison to the IRS on your behalf as a constituent.
Serious?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Every congressional office.
And we don't know that because
It's not in any books.
wow. You think about that because the purpose isn't to put you out of business, because that hurts everybody,
Yeah.
right? The purpose is to, oh my gosh, I mean, you think about it, is to help you thrive, because when a community thrives and members of the community thrive, then the whole community thrives. And whatever congressional district you're in, that congressman wants to make sure that his district is doing better than everybody else's. So you're going to get good help, right? You're going to get at least a liaison that's going to work with you.
You're going to get some help. It's better than navigating it by yourself. Or it's if you can't. I mean, that's the thing. You can pay me $250 an hour to handle it, just like you would a lawyer, or you can pay a lawyer $350 or however much they charge, or you can talk to your congressman for free. Maybe it'll cost you a donation dinner plate. Who knows? But at the end of the day, they're there to help you.
Wow. Maybe just take me through something simple that you've been able, somebody comes to you and just something simple, little tweak here or there that you did that made ultimate difference.
Gosh, where to choose? I'll take one that I just handled this week. A beautiful, phenomenal family down in Florida got hooked up with a real estate company that's teaching people how to invest and do real estate, and a company who I end up getting a lot of business from because they don't do a really good job. Advise them to incorporate a holding company and then incorporate a partnership with the husband and wife together as 50-50 owners on an LLC, and then charged them a whole bunch of money to set this whole thing up. They haven't even bought or sold a property yet.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Why do they need 3 different companies, 2 different companies, a partnership? They haven't even decided what type of business they're going to create. Whether they're going to do buy and holds, whether they're going to do fix and flips, whether they're going to do wholesaling, whether they're going to just do commission sales, whatever it is, they have not gone through enough of the process to where they're holding on to a specific business model with a clear path forward.
Yeah.
And so they spent thousands of dollars, and fortunately, they came to me before the end of the year so we could get that fixed for them. And we got them converted back to a single member LLC. So they're filing a simplified tax return, and they get to write off all of their expenses as active income or active losses, which will go against their W-2 income, which will get them a refund, which goes back to what I was talking about before. Literally the difference between being able to write off $3,000 if you're a real estate professional, $25,000 in losses, the difference between $3,000 and $25,000 versus writing off the full $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 you actually spent.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I see that so much all the time. I had some ladies that were sisters that were wanting to do a living trust, and I'm helping with their living trust, and they're asking, well, I was told that I have to have this Wyoming, LLC company so that I can hide all of my stuff. And I'm like, well, what stuff you got? What are you trying to hide? I mean,
What do you got?
What do you got? Well, we got a house. Okay, wait.
Simmer down, Kingpin.
And you want to hide it for what reason? Why do you think we need that? Well, because then it'll be hard for people to know that we own it. I'm like, well, is it super important that people know? I mean, you walk down the street, most people, houses are owned by somebody. And you think somebody's going to do a lawsuit and take your money because you have a house, they can find it. So it's just so, I guess, refreshing to know that there's somebody like you that's out there that's going, wait a minute, let's structure something that it's not going to cost you your whole life savings, and it's going to benefit you with the IRS, and it's going to benefit you in your life. And there's somebody that you can trust that is there doing it for you and helping you be able to do it.
It's funny. They were advised to set up a Wyoming holding company and then a Wyoming multi-member LLC, which then registered in Florida as a foreign entity. And I'm like, why?
What? Yeah, that was my whole thing is why? What did they, it's like, what are they telling that they need to do that? As if there's like people just standing at houses going, I got to figure out how to get it to.
I got to figure out how to slip and fall in front of this one. I like it.
Yeah, but you have insurance for that. So, and they're eventually going to find out who owns it if you slip and fall, right? But yeah, it's like, what is it you think's coming after you to be able to do that? And so
now I will say to your point though, a living trust or irrevocable trust, they're both very good for protecting assets. As long as you're not using them, as long as they don't generate any income, because as soon as they generate income or expense, but let's focus on income. As soon as they generate income, the trust has to file a tax return.
Yep.
And then when the trust files a tax return, it removes all the protection and anonymity that the trust was providing the assets anyways.
Isn't that crazy? And I do very few where I send them out irrevocable trust because people just don't have the assets to fund irrevocable trust. They do their revocable ones so that when they pass, the stuff goes without probate. But yeah, there has to, I'm going to send them to somebody for if they have those amount of assets. But most people who come to me have one house, have, a few things that they want to make sure that they work for in their lifetime that doesn't end up in a probate court. And we do it. But yeah, when they start talking about, well, I need to have this irrevocable trust to put for what are you trying to, like you said, what asset are you trying to protect? You're living in your house every day. So I get you want to, but so somebody doesn't know that it exists. Yeah. So we're doing that.
Find people that will advise you things that make sense for where you're at.
Yes.
Not just for where you want to go, where you're at, and then building process, have an understandable process for where you want to go. Like that's the real key, man.
Yeah. Talk to me about the society. I know I said at the beginning of the show, we're going to talk about the dirty little secret. So tell me about that.
And Dirty Little Secret Society is us stepping our game up. I mean, AI. AI is here. AI it's here to stay, right? We're actively working on processes right now in our software to be able to literally get rid of the tax filing process. The IRS just got rid of their free e-file program. They just ended that program. So the free e-file is gone. Now, the Dirty Little Secret Society was my answer to where technology is taking us, right? Everyone that I speak with, everyone that I come in contact with, you can find a monkey to go file your taxes down the street. I'm pretty sure they work at Liberty Tax. I'm kidding. Not to throw shade. H&R Block, really, that's where the monkeys work. It's drafts at Liberty Tax. But you can find a little mom and pop shop to go file your taxes for $50. Right? Like filing taxes is not difficult. So everyone that I run into wants to know strategy. They want to know they want to know how to leverage the tax code to the best of their ability. It's why I'm in this business, is why I got into it, was to teach people how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen so many people be so savagely taken advantage of, but because of their lack of knowledge or understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we put the Dirty Little Secret Society together to give people a community where they can share experience, they can network with each other, they can share business knowledge. I can share tax knowledge and advise them, and it keeps me accountable, because if I'm telling you something and you're in the community and someone else needs it, if you guys aren't talking to each other, how are you going to know I've told you and not him? And he really needs to hear it, right? So it keeps me accountable to make sure that everybody's on the same playing field, everybody's at the same education level. It shows me in my client base, where are the education gaps? What am I not doing a good enough job at, and where do I need to step up my game? But it also gives people an opportunity to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
We have a monthly forum where you can come in, you can ask questions about tax and business strategy, advisory, whatever your questions are. You know, am I structured yet? Should I be an S corp? When do I become an S corp? You know, it depends on your type of business and how much revenue you're generating. You know, should I be a partnership? I want to start a business with my husband or my wife. Okay, well, this is how you do that if you really want to do that. But let's examine what the ramifications are for making that choice first, rather than being like, hey, I want to do this. This is a great idea. And then having to clean up a mess after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be proactive in our advisorship, right? Let me give you the information when you need it. And it's going to be useful, not when it's too late, right? And then everybody also gets their taxes done for free, and you get access to our tax planning software that's has some AI built into it. So that's pretty much, there's 3 levels to the membership, but that is, in a sense, that's the purpose of the Dirty Little Secret Society, for us to come together, for us to pool knowledge. I really discovered that even in the different towns and locations where I have offices, my clients would come to networking events separately and I would have different conversations with them, but they never knew that and they would have conversations with each other, and they never knew that they had me in common.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And I said, this is a problem that needs to change.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, is there something that we didn't talk about that you want to make sure, other than the society, or I want people to know how to get a hold of you, that kind of stuff, as we kind of wind down? What did we talk about that you want to make sure the folks listening today get?
We've covered a bunch of subjects, man. We kind of ping-ponged all over the place. It's been great. I've enjoyed this conversation, Dr. B.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh. Well, when you think about the people that we get to help, and the people that are out there going, I just don't know. And the knowledge is power, and then responsibility, but it's not unless it's applied. And so we make sure
power.
The applied knowledge is taking that knowledge. And I truly believe we are in a era, or I don't know if you want to call it an era, we're in times where knowledge itself isn't as important as knowing how to learn. And I think about you when you and I were growing up, and we had to know everything. Like, we celebrated the guy who went on to Jeopardy and was able to answer all the questions about all this irrelevant information about the world and where it stands and how it stands. But yet that was like, oh, these tournaments, and a computer can beat them. And I had to do spelling tests. I had to do memorize all these Pythagorean theorems, and all the things that I think of that I never use in my life, that helped with my education. And now we fast forward into the 2020s, and realizing that my knowledge, any knowledge that I need, I get in seconds. Like, I want to know when Bill Cosby did back in whatever day, or whatever it is that I'm thinking about. I can type that in there and get the knowledge. But if I don't know how to ask the right questions, and I don't know how to learn or figure out how to learn, then I'm behind the eight ball.
Well,
Because
there's three really interesting components to that, because you have to know the right question to ask, right? So find the right prompt, right? Ask the right questions. Number two, you have to be skeptical. Trust but verify, as they used to say, right? And then number three, you have to be aware of bias.
Ooh, thank you. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And in that, that's what I'm talking about when I say you're learning how to learn. You're learning how do I know how to ask the right questions? How do I engage in a skeptical verification conversation? Because if I just say, well, do you know him? So it must be all right. Well, that person probably doesn't know either, right? And then, the biases, everything is put in with biases. And if I can have a bias filter that says this is the right decision for me, now I can continue to learn. And I think where you get that, and I'll go back to what I talked about earlier, is all those networking association conversations that you're doing all the time. Because the bigger your network is, I'm going to say the bigger your network is your net worth. Period. Your network is your net worth. And if you don't have a huge network, if you can't pick up your phone and I'll just start with 1,000 names of people, not 1,000 names of people that you are going to call every day, but that you've interacted with. And some people have a whole bunch of numbers in their phones and never even talk to the person. But if you have 100 or 200 people that you could call, then that means you got 10 or 12 people that if life needed and depended on it, you could call them and they'd be there for you. But if you haven't taken time to develop that relationship with any of them, nobody's going to answer that phone.
That's right. That's right.
Nobody's going to answer that phone. Well, cool. Patrick, thank you for being on today. How do people get a hold of you? Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I do have one thing.
Please.
I want to share. This is something that is very near and dear to my heart. This is a very exclusive thing that we do on an annual basis. Okay. And so as part of the Dirty Little Secret Society, realizing my clients don't network with each other outside of, real life, but coupling with that, we started an annual event.
Okay.
It's called the Christmas Mastermind.
Okay.
It is every year the weekend before Christmas.
Okay.
It used to be I would only take my financial coaching clients. So anybody that I was doing personal financial coaching with, they were the ones that got to go on this retreat. But we've now started opening it to the public. It is all inclusive at a luxury bed and breakfast hotel in Cape May. Everything from food, drink, dinners, breakfasts, beverages of, assorted accoutrement are included. Everything you can think of. We're even doing a trolley ride around Cape May to look at the mansions and the Christmas lights, and it's a magical thing. We'll be like half a block away from the beach. It's a phenomenal experience. So anyone who is interested in coming to that, even if not this year, next year we'll be doing it the same time, same place. I always tell people, look, I don't care if you come or not. Me and my fiance will be there with bells on, so you can come join us and you can learn something while you're at it, or you cannot, and I get to have a vacation. So choice is yours.
I love it.
But you can get a hold of me at info@rudefinancial.us. You can reach me. I'll give my cell phone out. I know we shouldn't, but I'll give it out anyways. 440-265-9143. Or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. _Rude Financial is what I think it is. If you see a cloud with a graph rising through it, that's us. But yeah, or if you see Uncle Sam shushing himself, that's also us. That's the Dirty Little Secret Society. So that's how you can connect with us. Find us on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm not on TikTok, thank God. And I'm sure that Dr. B is going to force me to publish my podcast one of these days.
Oh yes, it's coming.
That'll be a conversation for another time. Thank you so much, Dr. B. You've been amazing.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for being on. I told you this is going to be one you're going to go back and listen to over and over again. If this is your first podcast, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. I want to make sure that we're giving you incredible content every single time. And as you can tell by the associations of the people that I'm bringing on and the content, you're going to want to figure out how to get a hold of them, he just told you how to get a hold of them. So it makes it super easy. Not only did he tell you how to get a hold, he gave you his phone number. So if you are not taking advantage of getting together with this man and spending a little bit of time in increasing your network, oh my gosh, you're missing out. Literally take massive immediate action. Don't just wait and say, I'll get it done someday. I promise you the word someday. You can look it up all you want. I've not seen it on a calendar yet. I got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Man, not Sunday. It goes back over to Monday again. So make sure you do that. Hey, don't forget you are God's greatest gift. He loves you if you allow him to. I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. You guys have an amazing, awesome, awestruck day today. Talk to you soon.